Oh my god, wow. That could be taken so many wrong ways. Especially with your cat's name, Tootsie. Like what kind? Oh
Could
my
you
god.
hear her purring in the background?
No, I couldn't hear her purring in the background. So it's just like the listeners are not gonna hear it either because if her purring is so quiet, the music is gonna like it's gonna cover it, and so they're gonna be like, oh yeah, you're gonna go and pet your cat, and say hi to see. It's like, oh my god, it's just so like they're like 75% of our listeners are gonna take that the wrong way. They're gonna be like, oh, look at that, she's going off to do like stuff with her fanny, it's totally what's gonna.
It's gonna be awkward, guys. Get ready. Welcome back to another episode of Hopelessly Animanic, where we talk about all things awkward, romantic, and animanic. Cue.
Oh, right. Oh.
Cue. Again!
Hey,
Again!
I think the listeners are accustomed to me not paying attention and probably out doing interesting things like, trying to find romantic anime to talk to about for them and stuff like that. Or maybe I'm trying to finish some of the stuff that we're supposed to be watching, so that's the thing too.
I mean, I'm okay with this as well.
Yeah.
Because we watched a great anime this week.
I think we're gonna have varying opinions on such things, but sure, yeah.
Okay.
That sounds.
Well, it's kind of funny because you watched the anime, and I of course watched it as well. I've watched this anime like 5 times. Like of all the animes that I've watched over and over and over again, this has been one of them. But I also decided that I wanted to read the manga, and we did discuss this last week that the manga is actually kind of an older manga. But I felt it was kind of necessary to read it. I was like, I want to see like how it's different from the anime, and so I partook in that. Oh my gosh! But we'll get into that. It's a lot better.
Okay.
And by better, I mean, oh my god, is it fucked up? But we'll get to that.
Oh my god, wow, that is the thing. Like now I'm thinking like because I sat and I watched it and how I started off watching it, it was more like I spent my entire week doing all my work and getting all my stuff done and all that kind of good stuff. And on Friday, I sat down and was like, hey, holy shit, I need to watch this anime and read this manga. And, which listeners I think we should mention is that we're not going to be able to do an anime and a manga every week. We're going to actually just focus on one thing per week because we've realized that we just don't have the time to do both. The first week was good and the second week because we'd already watched those things and it was like one person was watching one of the other thing that the other person hadn't watched yet. But this week, we kind of both watched the same thing, so it was really hard to kind of get that done in 1 week, more or less.
We just think it'll be better if we focus on one anime/manga a week. That way we can focus entirely on it, and then we can talk about it more thoroughly. So, to our viewer Raven, we're going to save Clannad for next week because I only read a few chapters, and Q said he did not have time for it, and we didn't want to have to rush and just BS our way through it. So we're going to take the time to read it throughout the week / watch it / whatever comes up.
Sorry Raven. I only got to like 2 pages in, and that was the day I started, and my sister and I started doing something else, playing a video game. I was messing around with my PC, and she saw me playing a game on it, and she was like, "Oh, I want to play too," and we started competing for high scores. I'm really, really sorry. It wasn't supposed to happen that way. I tried really hard, and I failed, and I really failed. So next week, I'm going to make sure to put an all Clannad next week. So we're going to have a full Clannad episode next week, and that's going to be awesome. So look out for that.
So this week is going to be all Peach Girl, one of my personal favorite animes that apparently now Q has mixed feelings on.
I hate Kiki after this. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you guys now. Kiki, I loved you before, and now I hate you. Like, yeah, that's the thing.
Why?
There's heavy, disturbed emotions going on in my head, and I'll explain.
Did it crush your soul like it crushed mine the first time I watched it?
I want to say before I started watching it, I made a post on a Facebook group called Trinbago Anime Lovers, it's called I think it's something Anime Newsroom. I can't remember the name of it. But I'm in this anime group, and I said, hey, has anyone seen this anime? I'm supposed to be watching. I'm not too sure if it's going to be good or anything. And someone commented and was like, no, Q, stay away from it. Save yourself, or some kind of thing like that. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I have to do it. I have to do it for the podcast. And another guy was like, hey, you should watch it, because I don't know what it's about, but I've heard horror stories, but you should watch it so you can tell me about these horror stories. So I'm like, oh. He's like, you're my scapegoat. So I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I'm going to watch it anyway, so, well, see how I suffer. And boy, did I suffer. So, So I think how do we do this? I think let's do, because of how we're changing the format where we're actually going to be talking about one thing for the week, one anime for the week at least. I think how about we do the first half where we talk about what we think about. More or less.
Well, how about I start out with explaining the anime / manga. Okay. So guys, for those of you who have heard of Peach Girl is it's a high school dramedy / comedy, dramedy, romantic comedy. I mean, it's just a mixture of all of it. And it is about this girl named Momo, and she basically is just trying to identify herself in the world of love and friendship. And I think what it gets a lot of hate is, especially with the anime at least, is it takes this pitiful little girl and how everybody likes to cater to her, and how she's a spaz about everything, and how love just, is her world and everything. So basically the story is Momo is, just trying to find love, and she just happens to get mixed up in a lot of stuff that a lot of people really end up hating the show for, because she's just a spaz. But me and my friend really like this anime. We used to have Peach Girl-a-thons where we would just watch it straight. So anyway, I guess we'll get onto Q, what we'll first talk about is tell me your initial reaction. I need to know this.
Okay, let's see. So my initial reaction after asking people around, I'm like, hey, I need to ask. I went to my little sister first because I knew she'd seen it before. So I was like, hey, have you do you still have a copy of Peach Girl? Because I think I did say I was gonna ask her first if she had a copy. I'll just watch it from what she had. And she's like, no, I don't have a copy anymore. I watched it either online or I got rid of the copy or something like that. And she's like, why are you watching that or something? I'm like, oh, well, I have to watch it for the podcast. And she's like, oh, well, she's like, I only skipped through it. I didn't watch the whole thing. So I was like, oh, okay, well then. Okay. I asked some people online, and some people warned me, as I said before, and some people said, hey, go for it. I want to see what happens. And so I went to IMDb, and I went to My Anime List, and I went to a lot of different websites that, had ratings for it, and it had like 7 and 8, so I was like, oh, well, and this is actually good. It has good ratings, and there's no way it's gonna suck. But then the thing is, the strange thing is that ratings and reviews are two completely different things. There were people who reviewed this shit and they explained it, and there were people who rated it. Now, granted, the people who rated and reviewed us pretty much the same people. It's just the overall rating for the entire thing has a different rating than the actual review of the thing. And so when I started watching it, I'm like, ooh, first episode. It starts off, she's really cute. I like the character. The art style is really good. I like it. It looks really nice. It's cute. She has nice tan skin, and I like chicks with nice tan skins. It's like really nice and it's cute and adorable. Well, I like all kind of chicks. I don't want to discriminate, but you know, she's just really nice. And I like the art style. She was cute. She had really nice hair. It was fluffy and all curly and nice, and the character looked really charming. You know, well, she looked really charming. So I was like, okay, this is nice. And I started off, and she's going to school, and she likes this guy, and she thinks she really likes him, and you know, you can tell he likes her too, but he's kind of like trying to feel out the water and stuff like that to find out if she really likes him, because he's obviously a punk, and you know, because a real man would be like, hey, I like you. But, you know, let's just put that aside for a second. And then there's this other guy who's like a total ladies man. And, you know, he is, strangely enough, a total ladies man, but also really, really nice, you know, which is a huge surprise. And then there's this other chick who's apparently her friend. I'm saying apparently and doing, like, you know, quotations in the air. Apparently her friend, who every time she likes something tries to get that thing from her because she's obviously a jealous and I'm not going to use language, I'm just going to say a jealous. I can use language though, we can beep it, we can like censor this. She's a jealous and it's just like, no, you jealous character. Anyway, so I think when I started watching it, I think I messaged you, Kiki, and I was like, oh my god, this character is a total it's just something like that, and you, I think you laughed at me or something.
I did. I very much did laugh at you, and I couldn't exactly recall like where you were at, but I was like, just wait. She turns into the devil. So I need to get your reaction. So I'm hearing like your thoughts, but I need to know, like, did you like it? Did you not like?
I liked it
at first.
The first episode when I got into it, I was like, oh, this is going nice. But then the thing is like, it went from nice to not nice. I was like, oh, it's not getting in, it's not developing, and all that kind of stuff. I think by the second or third episode, I was like, what the frack am I watching here? I think that's when I was like, holy shit, these characters are stupid. Like, there are some really stupid people in this anime. Like, there's a degree of nice and a degree of stupid, and there's, honestly speaking, actually, if you Google this, and I kid you not, the meaning of the word nice is actually supposed to mean something like stupid. Like the original meaning, I think it's like Old French or something. Nice actually means something like stupid. So yeah, they're all nice characters because they're all stupid. Except for the villainous ghoul or something. But yeah, my initial reaction, I liked it at first, but then it changed. I want to say that with this anime, it was a huge roller coaster. Like, it was like, you know, when you watch an anime, it's either like you start liking it at first, then you hate it, and then you like it at the end, or it's like you like it, you hate it. This one is like, you like one episode, you hate the next. You like one episode, you hate the next. You like one episode, you hate. That's how it goes throughout the anime. Basically, this basic description of what it is, it's a lot of drama. It's like literally too much drama.
Oh yeah, that's why I had to include that this was a drama, because it gets, there's so much craziness. And Momo, of all the anime female protagonists that I have ever admired, she is the craziest of them all. Like, she loves one guy, and then she loves the next one, and then she thinks she loves another one again, and then it's just like, I don't understand. Love who you love. But I think the reason why I loved this show so much was because of my favorite character, Kairi Okayasu, who is known as the Playboy, but not really the Playboy, because he ends up falling in love with Momo, and she's the only one he wants to be with, and but anyway, cute. So I guess I get into questions then. So who's your favorite character?
My favorite character is Kyrie as well. I liked him. The minute I saw him when she was by the pool and she's swimming and all that kind of stuff, and he comes in, he's like, "Oh, Momo, I love you so much," and he does the whole huggy thing, and he's like, he recaps the whole story of how he fell in love with her, you know, her saving him from the water, and then she tells him, well, hey, like, there was a dude who gave you CPR, that was not me, and then he's like, oh, well, let's make it official then, and he kisses her. I'm like, yes, this is what I'm talking about, kissing like no time at all, and I'm like, yep, I like him, he's a bamf, you know, that's all we're talking about. And so yeah, Kyrie's my favorite character. Even though there were points where I did not like him, he remained my favorite character from beginning to end. I still think he's my favorite character at the end. There's no one else who comes close. Like, literally the other characters, I hate them. Like, I do not like the other guy, and I don't like the... Let's not go there. Okay, ask the next question, Kiki.
Okay, so what was your biggest flaw with the anime? Like, what did you find most annoying about it?
The drama. I did not like the drama. I loved the romance stuff, like when things were going great and Kyrie was being sweet and things were going nicely, I was like, okay, I like this. What I didn't like is the drama, and the drama I'm talking about is like the characters are stupid, and I keep saying they're stupid, but I need to explain why they're stupid. There's a character, I think her name is Sai. She's the villainous female character in the whole thing that is supposed to be her friend, but doesn't do friend-like things. And Sai always like messes with them. Like, she does things that makes their relationships go crazy. But the thing about it is that I don't get how you know, Momo is so stupid and gullible, and how the other guys are so stupid and gullible. Like, for example, I can't remember the guy who she was dating at first. What's his name again?
Toji.
Right, Toji. This is one of the stupidest scenes that I'm gonna mention here. Like, she comes to Toji and is like, hey Toji, here's the thing. The thing with you and Momo and stuff like that, like, you've not kissed her before? Oh my god. So how are you gonna kiss her? And then she's like, oh, you need to practice with me so that you know how to kiss her properly. And he, you know, he kisses, well, they kiss, you know, I mean, she forces herself, well, they kiss. And I'm like, oh, you kidding me, mate? Like, you have a girlfriend. I am a person that strongly believes that if you are in a relationship, that you have established that you are in a relationship with someone, you should be 120 or 150 or 200% committed to that relationship, which means no kissing anyone else, no shagging anyone else, and no doing any kind of other things in between that would be, you know, that would mess with your relationship. But
yes.
If you're not in a serious relationship, then do whatever you want. You're in a relationship. He was in a relationship. They had already made up their minds. They confirmed their shit. This was like, hey, we're together. And he kisses another chick and then tries to like make the female character feel guilty. And this is kind of the drama here, because they're always trying to make each other feel guilty for stupid things. And
oh yes.
He's like, oh, well, you know, you should be listening to your friend because she knows what's best and blah, blah. And she's like, oh, you should listen to me. I'm your girlfriend, which I agreed. I was like, hey, that's your girl. Anyone else comes and says shit, it's like, hey, if my girl says this, then this is this. Like, I've had things like that happen to me in relationships in the past where someone's told me something and then my girl tells me something. I'm like, hey, babe, what exactly happened? And she's like, well, this happened. And I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, dude, I can't take your word on it. The bae has spoken. She said this happened. I'm sorry, your word is mute. You know, my trust is in the person I'm in the relationship with, and that's how I think it should be with relationships. And so he didn't put his trust in her, and then there's all the weird crap that's going on that she keeps, you know, getting dragged into things with Sai. Like, Sai keeps telling her lies, and she always goes out of her way for Sai, and I'm like, you stupid. Like, there's one scene where Sai's about to get raped, and she's like, oh, I have to go save her. And I'm like, no, you don't have to go save her. You could go and enjoy your afternoon, mate. Like, seriously, like, if someone has messed up my life, if someone has tried to do the kind of shit that Sai did to her in the anime, like, this chick took a weird picture of her and was planning to, like, ruin her life and broke up her relationship off of this shit. And then you're like, hey, I must go try save her because, I'm like this really nice person. And I'm like,
well, she didn't know about the pictures at this point yet. She doesn't find out about the pictures till later.
Till in the end, yeah, but she still didn't know Sai was like a backstabbing like, she just knew Sai was doing all, like, that. I think at that point Sai was with her first boyfriend or whatever. And it's like
Toji,
a lot of
with
Toji. I think that by that point Sai had already stolen Toji from her through blackmail and shit like that. But but yeah, every time. But that's not the first time and the last time that she tries to help Sai. When Sai does bad things to her, she's always going out of her way, like literally going out of her way to save her. I'm not saying be a bad person in life. If you see someone dying in the street and you can give them a glass of water even though they hate you and you hate them, hey, give them the glass of water if you can. But if they're in another town over and they're dying of thirst and you need to get into your car, drive to them, get a glass of water and give it to them, hey, that's BS. I'm sorry, it just doesn't make sense. And that's kind of what she does. She goes out of her way to save this chick every time. But I mean, it kind of starting to end for the story, but either way I still didn't like it. It was
No, I understand. The decisions. I mean, Momo is very naive, but I think that's what the core of the story is. She's not only trying to be a typical girl and have a boyfriend and a normal life, but she's also dealing with severe bullying. And again, I don't live in Japan, so I don't know how students handle bullying and stuff there, but she's essentially trying to deal with this situation, and she's trying to fight through it. And even though the whole school at one point has their back turned on her and everyone's convincing her that you're trying to convince her that she's a slut and she's good for nothing, she still powers through it,
That's
and
great.
I think that's why a lot of people don't really like this story, because they misconstrue it. They often believe that this is a story about a girl that she's whiny and all she wants is a boyfriend and that's the only way she can function. But that's not the story at all. The story is about how this girl gets put through the most horrifying bullying possible and survives, and she comes out on top.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, as you said, Sai is terrible. The things that she puts Momo through, and Momo still, at the end of the day, walks away with the man she loves, and she's finally happy. And, and I think that's kind of the root of the story. It's, the boyfriends there are nice, but it's also about how Momo wins over the bullying, and she does it. And, I think there's a lot of important lessons that are taught in this, aside from the whole relationship thing, especially with Kairi. And this is why I liked Kairi so much, because it wasn't just, he was the cooler one and the more fun one, because he too was also my favorite character from beginning to end. But he is a genuine character all the way through. He is himself all the way through. And he teaches Momo, and he even taught me some valuable lessons. Like, when you go through hard things in your life, you don't have to face them alone. You can depend on the people around you. And, a lot of times the people around you don't mind if you need to depend on them. Like, that's what they're there for, and so on and so forth. And I feel like a lot of people in our society feel that they can't depend on other people, and they want to do things themselves and so on and so forth. And I think this show teaches you that you don't always have to face things on your own. It's okay to be sad if you get broken up with. It's okay to be scared of a bully. It's okay to put a smile on your face. And it's okay to depend on someone to help you through it all.
And true. That is 100% true. You see, now you've pointed out all the good things about the anime, and I can't deny those things. Those are all good things, and they're true.
And I'm not naive. I can see things at face value. I can see why a lot of people hate this anime because, you know, Momo is a very spastic character. She loves one guy one day and then the next she loves another. But I think the flaws of the anime, and I learned this after reading, I'm like halfway through the manga at this point. Like I literally could not stop reading it last night. But one thing that I learned about the anime is that time is kind of lost in the anime versus with the manga. A lot of things are more drawn out, so like it takes her 3 months to get over Toji before she even considers starting to date Kairi. A lot of people are under the assumption that, 3 days after Toji and her break up, she's dating Kairi. And it's like, actually, it's like 3.5, almost 4 months before they even, like, go on a date together.
Oh.
So, I think that's the flaw with the anime compared to the manga, is because that time is forgotten. That time is kind of blended together, you know? Like in the anime, you don't know this, but she's been with Kairi for like 6 to 8 months before they start having all the problems with Misao and his brother.
Oh yeah, there's that too. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that. I guess yeah. For watching the anime, it's like, as I said, it's like one episode you like and next episode you don't, and it's like it does feel like it's like it all happens in like, you know, a few months or something. It doesn't feel like, oh, this just happens and there's time that passes and stuff like that. It just doesn't feel that way. And I'm sure maybe it probably says that somewhere in the anime or something. I don't know. I hope it does in Japanese.
It hints at it.
But it doesn't feel that way. As for someone watch marathoning through this thing, like I was marathoning through this thing all, you know, from Friday into Saturday, and it just didn't feel like, it felt like this girl was like, for one, it felt like every character except for Sai was gullible. Well, Sai was gullible in some sense too, but it felt like a lot of characters in it were just gullible. They just take things at face value and just go with it. You know, like, Sai has lied to you 10 times and she comes and tells you something, you know what? I'm gonna believe it, because this time it sounds like it makes sense. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was Momo. That was Momo and Toji for the most part. I think Kairi kind of saw through her all the way through, which is why
smart. I like him.
This is why Kairi and Sai never got along throughout the entire show, was because he saw right through her. Momo, I think she kind of knows that she's horrible, but she's such a nice girl that she, even, like, as Toji explained it, like, she is a puppy. Like, you could beat the dog and you can shoot and throw things at it, but they still come back. And that's how she is. In particular with Sai.
I just couldn't date a chick like that. Like, seriously, I mean, if there's a chick, I'm sure there are chicks like that exist out in the world, and I'm sure there's someone out there for you girls. I'm sure there's a you know, a Toji and a Kairi out there for you, you know. But like, I'm just saying, like, y'all need some help and stuff. I'm just saying. I mean, like, I'm just saying, if you are that gullible that you let someone who does, I mean, people have done bad things to me in the past, and I've forgiven them, and they've repeated. But for me, it's like, you get like 2 chances with me, at least 3 at best, depending on how good a relationship we've had. But then after that, it's just like, I'm sorry, you just do not get my attention. Like, you're not gonna get any kind of trust from me. I'm gonna keep you at arm's length, like a serious arm's length, like seriously. But for her, she like gets too close to Sai and lets Sai get too close to her on numerous occasions, and it's just so bad. It's just so bad how it happens every time. But yeah the anime is as you said, it has its good points, and I do agree. One thing I did think about, I think I wrote this down when I was watching it. I think Peach Girl is it's a story that is sort of realistic in some sense, because of the fact that there are people out there who these things happen to, who would react like this in these situations. And other than that, it kind of also says one thing too. When you're in love, you're kind of blind, and that is a fact. I know that from fact, because for me, when I'm in love with someone, I'm blind to like their flaws, and I'm blind to a lot of things as well. And I guess when you're in love too, some people are like really they're not as, they're really always, and these are the people that don't make relationships work, just saying. But there are some people who are just really always looking for an excuse to find a flaw in their partner, to find something wrong with their partner. And I think the characters in the show were always doing that. They were finding flaws in their partners while they were, like, in the relationship and stuff like that, and someone would come and tell them something immediately, and they just go with it, and I think that's the thing. They wanted communication, and that's the thing a lot of couples have. They don't communicate properly. They don't actually talk to each other. They just take whatever someone says and they just like, hey, well, this is the fact. Or they see something happen and they're like, oh, this is what it is, and they don't communicate. And so that's the problem with it, I think, and that's realistic. That's a realistic thing that in the anime, like, people do that a lot. A lot of the people in relationships do not communicate together, and it messes up their relationships. And that's exactly what happened in Peach Girl.
Yep. So another question I have for you. This is always the question I like asking people that have seen the show anyway. Mm-hmm. So what were your thoughts towards the brother and the nurse?
Okay, that's the brother. You're talking about Kairi's brother, right?
Yes.
Okay, that is another weird situation. The nurse likes the brother, and she dated him before, and then they broke up and things like that. I really think that the brother really liked her a lot, but then he's like, I wanted at first to think that he was like Sai, but he's worse than Sai. And
he is.
And because there's a scene where, like, Sai tells him that she's pregnant, and he just brushes her off. He's like, she's lying. I mean, granted, I would think the same thing too, because Sai is a liar. But then you're like, when Misao was like, hey, you didn't deny that you shagged her. And then she's like, you need to talk about this. And they decide, okay, let's go and talk about this. And the dude carries out to Peach and is like, hey, here's some money. Like, I don't want anything to do with this. And that's one thing that I find despicable in anything. Basically, in human beings, in men, in any relationship where there's a guy who decides, here's what, a chick gets pregnant for me. And I'm like, hey, I don't want any part of this. To get lost. I'm not going to be a father. And I think that's despicable. So, like, he had already annoyed me from before, but when he did that, it was more like, I despise this character. It wasn't like you annoy me, it was more like I really despise you as a character. If you were a human being and I knew you, I would want to, like, do cruel things to you. And I'm not a cruel person. I mean, from knowing me, I don't do cruel things, but I would do cruel things to people like that, because I'm like, you need two people to make kids, and when they come together and there's a child involved, you need to be a parent. Whether or not you want to be the person, you can still be a father without being in a relationship with someone. You can be a father, as in take care of your child and not have to be with the mother of the child, and that works. It does. There are people who do that, and that's cool. But don't, hey, I'm gonna buy out the chick and I'm not gonna be a father. That's horrible, and he was a horrible character. As a character in the story, he added to the plot line, but if he were a person, he's horrible. With Misao, it felt like she liked him a lot, and it seemed like he liked her as well, but I would not, because of the nice person that Misao is, I would not ever want to match them together. Like, I would feel like he would just damage her as a person, and and how it ended with them, I think it ended as it should have. I think with Misao, I liked her as a character. She told Kairi that she saw him as a little brother and all that kind of stuff, and she was really supportive to all the other characters in it. And I like that. She was a good character. She's not my favorite because there's not much scenes with her and she's not, like, interesting. But more or less, she's a good character, and she's one of the few characters in it that's just, like, genuinely cool. Like, you're like, oh, Misao is okay. She just doesn't have any kind of serious flaws, except for the fact that she likes an idiot. A psychopathic, crazy idiot who uses women and have them do all kind of crazy things.
Right. Well, I mean, she learns about him towards the end. Like, she discovers what the true type of person he is, and, that it leads her to understand that he is not the person who she thought she loved and everything. So that ends up working out. But Rio was quite the character. He was truly horrible. He was truly horrible, and I think that you match evil with evil, and I think his character was necessary for the development of Sai. And that by the end of the show, you end up liking Sai because of what she does for Momo, and she actually does become a friend and everything to her.
That's true.
And I think it's because when your evil is outmatched by another evil person, you know what I mean? Like, you either have to submit or you have to become more evil, and she decided that she didn't want to become more evil. She knew who she wanted to be. And I think that's crucial. I mean, that was very important for Sai. I mean, because because like throughout the whole show, you're like, all right, what is going to happen with Sai? Like, is she just going to be evil, or is there going to be character development? And of course there was character development, and that's kind of where it went out.
Yeah, it was nice that happened. I mean, it's not nice that the things that happened to her, but you're right. It was required, and it did make her character a lot more likable. As you did tell me when I messaged you, you're like, oh, she's gonna be the hero in the end, and she was really a nice character then. And by the end of it, I was like, oh, I like Sai. Not like Sai, like how I liked Kairi in the story, but I like her then. She was pretty cool. She was funny though. There were scenes where she turned like into this little wobbly thing that flew through the air and stuff like that. That was hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing when she did that. Like every time, I'm like, oh god, it's stupid.
Okay. All right, Q. I have one last question for you before we go on our break, because it's about that time. But I have one last question for you, and then we can go on to the break.
Okay.
My last question is, what were your thoughts and reactions towards the actor / model that Sai gets involved with, and how she pins him on Momo?
Wait, he's stupid. He's a very stupid guy, and I'm smiling when I'm saying this. He's a very stupid guy. He meets Sai while they're at a modeling thing, and Sai is really plush and stupid looking at that point in time. So I'm having fun, and she's like, "Oh, Mama, look at me!" and she's doing stupid things, and I'm like, he's so funny, Sai. At that point in time, I'm just having fun with the characters, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. And then he's like, "Ew, I like you, you're so beautiful," and he touches her face and stuff, and she pops, like she turns into a normal looking girl. And he's like, what happened? And he's like, oh, you're more beautiful, and some kind of crazy shit like that. But he's a really stupid guy. Like, he was gullible. Like, Sai played him like a fiddle. And he just...
she did.
I'm gonna spend all my money on you. I believe anything you say. And all that kind of stuff. Like, I think for him, as a character, he hurt Sai more than any other character, because at that point she was kind of like, she was broken, and she was at that point where she needed to develop and build herself back up, and it seemed like she was gonna like build herself back up, and he kind of put her on a pedestal, which is what her character didn't need, which is to build her ego. And he built up her ego, which she turned back into like the horrible side that you knew. And yeah, he was not good for her as a character, and he was super gullible. Like, I didn't like him. I thought he was stupid, and guys like that, like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, he well, I'll talk about that after the break, because so after the break, I'm gonna tell you some major differences in the anime versus the manga, and why the manga is so much better than the anime, but I don't want to spoil too much. So, Q, are there any questions for me on the plot before we go on to our break? Specifically because I have watched this show in and out. I have read up on information about it, like everything. So, you can ask me anything, and I will probably have an answer for you. Is there anything you have for me?
Okay, let's see. I want to have a question, just one. Let's see here. While watching it, I gotta ask you questions with the manga too. Okay, let's just say, with Momo, right? If you had to rate on a scale, like, Momo being that gullible character, because most of I was watching, I was like, I hate Momo, she's too gullible, and so forth. But if you had to, like, describe her as, whether she's a typical girl, being wrong and trying to make guys around her feel guilty about nothing? Or do you think she is not a typical girl and that, she's just like one of those rare cases?
To be honest, and I am speaking as I am a girl, so like I know how some girls are, but I think she is very typical based off of her age, because one thing that everybody needs to keep in mind is she is 15.
What?
She is 15 when the show first starts. At the very end of the show, she is 16. Wait, 17. Yeah. I think she's 17. Yes. So, at the very beginning of the show, when she is at like her craziest, she's 15. She turns 16 while dating Toji. Because remember, she had her birthday, and that was her sweet 16. And she's with Kairi for a very long time. And, I mean, I want to assume that she's 17 by the end of the show, but for argument's sake, we'll just say she's 15 and then 16, and then we'll just say she's turning 17 by the end of the show. Because, again, I don't necessarily remember if she has another. Just forget it. But yeah. so for that age area, yes, I think she's very realistic, because I remember being that age. All I wanted was a boyfriend, and I thought a boyfriend was my life. And the first guy that showed me attention, I was convinced I loved him, and I felt very gullible to a lot of things that guys would say, or even things guys wouldn't do. And I was like, oh, it's because he loves me. Like stupid things, like he would hand me an eraser, and I'd be like, I love him. And it's like, no, you don't. He doesn't, Kiki, he doesn't love you. He's just giving you an eraser because you asked for one. It's not because he loves you. And so, yes, I think she is very typical, and I also think that's why a lot of people don't like the anime, because they think she's like 17, 18, 19 years old, but it's like, guys, she is 16. She is doing what a typical 16-year-old would do.
Yeah.
It is not unbelievable that she is a virgin,
Most 16. Hey, I won't actually say that. I think a lot of 16-year-olds are already shagging and stuff at that age. But hey, I think she's in that particular detail. I think she's not typical. I think she's the what do you call? She's the exception in that particular aspect. But everything else, yeah, she totally is like a typical chick at her age. 16-year-old chicks are super gullible. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, they are, and she plays that very well. And I think she shows, she may dramatize a little bit, but I think she shows a lot of realism to how girls are and how vicious other girls with Sai can be. So, is there any other questions that you have?
I don't think so. I want to ask you questions about the manga after, so I think we should take our break, and I'll ask you questions about the differences with the manga and the anime.
Perfect.
So, we're going to break, listeners. So, I'm going to go off and do, what podcast hosts do during breaks, which is stuff, Talk about it.
Pet my cat a little bit, listen to her purr. Say hi, Tootsie.
Oh my god, Kiki, why do you always do that?
Because. Anyway, guys, we'll be right back for more awkwardness. Woo-hoo.
It was a nice fun thing to mess around with on the iPhone, so I have to say that was a highlight. It's interesting. I like it. I have fun with it. It's nice. It's
Oh, cute. Shall we go back to the show?
No, we shall not. You see, you can't do that. I'm supposed to get you involved in a conversation and then start it after you're not even looking for it.
Nope. You're busted. You're busted. It's my turn to catch you.
It's horrible. Welcome back to the podcast, listeners. Kiki has obviously defied the odds, and she's not been dragged into randomness of conversations. And now
Q has now been dragged.
I've been dragged back into the show without even noticing. Like, normally it's supposed to be like Kiki gets into the conversation I'm having, and then she's like, oh, blah 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 blah, nice stuff. And then I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And then I'm like, hey, well, let's get back to the show. And Kiki's like, oh my god, you didn't tell me anything. Oh, I'm doing a little mouth thing with my hands. Anyway, yeah, we're back, and yeah, that's what happens when you're just
that happened. All right then. Well, guys, so this part of the episode we're going to talk about the differences between manga and anime. Why don't you ask, and then I'll go ahead and talk the differences. How's that?
Okay, I think that works. I think I ask you a question and you answer it, and then we get into the conversation-y stuff of this. All right, so let's say I've watched Peach Girl, and yeah, I suffered through it because Kiki's mean and doesn't like me anymore, and so after watching,
it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
It was an experience. Let's call it that. It was an experience. I would say, were it up to me and I was not watching this for the podcast and you didn't recommend it to me, I would have quit after like episode. I don't know. I probably quit like before halfway. Like seriously, I would have just quit. Like I would have just said, "This is too annoying," and I'm done. But I'm the kind of person. Hey, you recommended it to me. I'm gonna watch it, and we had to do it for the podcast anyway. So, yeah, I watched it. But let's see, questiony. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm the kind of person that loves romance, and romance is kind of the thing that I live for. I die for it. It's just totally my thing. I love romance. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It makes me all bubbly inside. And so when I watch a nice anime, or I watch anything that's media, I like nice romance in it. I like things that are like really romantical. If you had to describe Peach Girl's romance, how would you describe it? Would you say that this is really good romance? Like if someone's like me that really, really likes romance, is this something that they're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna die for this romance, or is it more less not that?
You have to understand the arc. It's not just a romance between Momo and Kairi. Because if you look at the grand story, it's about Momo and Kairi finding their way to each other at the end of the show. That is the grand story. Yeah, she has Toji. Yeah, she this Sai thing, and yeah, the Rio. But it's all about Momo and Kairi pretty much throughout the entire thing. So you have to kind of go in understanding that this isn't just your typical romance. This is a lot. This is about, coming of age. This is about bullying. This is about relationships. And it has a payoff at the end. There is a good payoff at the end. People need to understand that there's a reason for all the craziness and the sadness and the what the f***ness. It all has a payoff.
Okay.
Would I recommend it to those who are so into like the romance and they need the like sappy tearjerkers? No, this isn't for you. You need to go into this with an open mind, and clearly a lot of viewers don't go into it with an open mind. You recommended it to me. I'm bloody sappy. You're just like, hey Q, you need to watch this one. because I liked it, so I thought you would have liked it too.
I have an open mind, so I'll say yes. I didn't hate it. It's not like there are anime that I hate that are literally like on my hate list. Like I would say, honestly speaking, I would agree with the rating that Peach Girl has gotten online. It is a 7 out of 10. It's not hell. It's just not for everyone. It's one of those that I would say it's for some people and not for other people, and it's the drama that pulls you out of it. It's the whole lot of drama that kind of pulls me out of it, and everything else was good. Like I like Kairi a lot. He's too cute. He's like a really cute guy in the sense of he's the kind of guy that a guy should want to be like.
Yes.
Except for when he's like, oh, well, I like another chick. And then, Momo says, well, I'll settle for second best, which that never happens. Like, I'm sorry. Who does that? Kiki, question. I want to ask you a question now. relating to the manga and the anime and stuff like that, is the story about that, like you said it's spaced out, right? And so it is spaced out, as in the time is not as close as the anime makes it seem. It does, even though it's spaced out, do the same events happen in the same order?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do, but they're a lot crueler. That's how I can put it. The anime, I'm telling you, the anime dumbs it down a lot. So, you know how Momo tosses the love word around a lot? The manga doesn't. She doesn't toss the love word around. She only says that she loves Toji towards the end when they're actually dating and together. They aren't, you know, like when she's beating up Kairi in the meeting, like, why would he tell me he loves me and then dates Sai? That doesn't happen. He's like, why would she says, why would he tell me he likes me, but then is seeing her? It doesn't make sense. So she is a lot more believable and realistic in the manga than she is in the anime. The anime, I think, makes her a lot worse than what she is in. Now, don't get me wrong, she's still very, she still has a temper and she's still spastic, but she's not like over the top as she is in the anime.
Okay, I like that. Has another question.
Yeah.
If it were, let's see, where was I? Oh god, I lost my train of questioning. Oh, bloody hell. Listeners, I truly apologize. I'm gonna edit this out. You're not gonna hear me apologizing. Why am I even saying this? Anywho, if we had to, oh bloody hell, I need to move these phones away from my desk because the people are messaging me and I can't switch them off right now. Alright, so where was I? Alright. We were talking before about how Momo liked Kairi and Kairi liked, what's her name again?
Kairi liked Misao.
Kairi liked Misao, correct. And so, if you were in a situation like Momo, granted, you know, and a bloke who you like, you're head over heels for, says, well, he likes someone else, would you settle for second best? Like, is that a thing you would do? Like, okay, I'll wait until you like me more than this other person. Like, you can date both of us, it's cool.
You know, I knew this. I knew you were gonna ask me that. I knew you were gonna ask me. My answer to that it's very situational, and
okay,
because here's the problem. Like, Kairi had an unrealistic love for Misao. He knew going into it that he was gonna get shot down, but he kind of needed that for his closure. So I guess it would have to depend on, you know, the situation, because like if I'm seeing a guy and he tells me that he has all these feelings for me and he has like unsettled history with somebody, then I would say, well, before you can commit to me, just settle it. But I'm gonna pursue you because I want you, and if you want me, then there's no reason why we shouldn't be together. If you have baggage, then I'll help you work through it. And I think that's what Momo is about. I don't think it's now again, I haven't gotten to that part in the manga where she discovers this and she kind of confronts him about it. But I think it isn't about her settling for second best, like, but I'm still second for now. Yeah, for now, he says as he leans in and kisses her. I don't think it plays out like that in the manga, but I will have to read it and, you know, find out if that is how it goes. But I don't think that that's what it's about. I think it's about her loving him and accepting that he has this flaw, and she's going to help him through that. Now, if it's straight up, he was like, no, I need to be with her. I'm going to be with her. We're going to be together. And Momo was like, well, I'm just going to tag along. I don't think that's how it's supposed to read. And I know that's how it comes off, that she is just accepting that she is not who he would like to be. Because he does want to be with her. He does love her. It's not like he's just toying with her until Misao comes along. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, yes. But you still didn't answer the question.
Well, I did, because my answer is all situational. Like, if I was in Momo's place And if a guy came to me and was like, I'm in love with somebody else, I would say, okay, well, do you want to be with them? Obviously, they'd probably say yes. And I'd say, well, do you want to be with me? And they'd probably say yes, because what guy is gonna, like, unless he literally is just toying with me. So it's, you know, I at that point would say, well, let's break up, but I'm gonna help you through this because I do care about you, whether we're in a relationship or a friendship. But I wouldn't date somebody that was confused about who they had feelings for, because that's not fair to me. So to answer your question, no, I would not have done what Momo did.
I like that answer. It's correct. I wouldn't do this thing either. I wouldn't. I couldn't put myself through that. I'm the kind of person that's just, it's not gonna work for me. I'd quickly say, hey, we can be friends, and you need to deal with this. This is something that you just need to deal with. You need to sort this out and all that kind of good stuff. And if you're all sorted out and no baggage, we could work something out, but not like. Yeah,
exactly. And that's how it worked out for Momo. So I think the anime maybe in translation, a lot of stuff got changed and messed up, but I honestly don't believe that that's how the story is supposed to read. I think it is supposed to be that they agree that they'll be close, it's just they won't be considered a couple until he gets his feelings figured out. And he does the mature thing. He gets his feelings figured out. He confesses his feelings for Misao. She rejects him, obviously. And he says, I don't just want to run back to you. I want to take time to figure this out. And he goes on his summer trip. She continues working, and she's technically single at this point, so, you know, she kind of has a brief fling with Toji or whatever. And then, you know, and then at the same time, he gets to all his stuff figured out, and she's like, well, you have to prove to me that you want to be with me. And he does. He crosses a typhoon, and then he still fights to be with her. And then in the end, and spoiler alert, they end up together. So it's like he proves that he has, you know, that this is what he wanted and this is what. So, like, in the end, it ends up, you know, that's how it's supposed to work out. If you are confused about how you feel for somebody, you are allowed to be confused. That is what being there for somebody and truly caring and loving someone is about, supporting them. Okay. If you aren't feeling me, okay, let's work through it. Let's figure out what to do. And that's exactly what they did. And that's what it should be.
That's great. I like that. That's 100% true. That is true. Again, this all, I guess the timing of how the anime is timed and the translation may have mucked up some of that in, you know, just looking at it, and, you know, it's mucked it up a bit. But as to how it's received from someone watching it. But again, if it's spaced out well and everything like that, it does make a lot more sense. I did love that part where he went off and he was like, oh, I'm going to, like, you know, spend some time and you know, find myself. And he went and he stayed at that noodle shop and he worked, and the noodle guy was super wise, and he told him something really interesting. There was one scene in it. I think a lot of people need to see this particular scene. This is one scene that you need to watch this anime for. And there's a scene where the noodle guy gives him a puzzle to build, and he's in bed because he had anemia or something like that, and he gives him a puzzle, but he finishes the puzzle and he's like, I'm missing a piece. And it's kind of a metaphor basically for life. It's like, this is how life is, this is how love is, more or less. We all have pretty much our puzzle for our lives. We have us, you know, we're built and we're all done. But we're always missing that one piece to complete us as a person, and that one piece is the person that you love. And I like that. I like that metaphor. That was really, really strong. That was probably a highlight scene, like the scene for the anime. I think that is really a big highlight. What do you think, Kiki? Do you agree?
Of course I do. Of course. I mean, you know. Anyway, we spent a lot of time on this question, so do you have another question?
Yeah, I do. Okay, so with the anime and the manga, is Sai as diabolical in the manga as the anime?
Oh, yes. And this was something I really wanted to bring up earlier, but I figured I'd wait because like I said, I had read a little bit of Peach Girl years ago when I first discovered this anime, and I wanted to kind of just get a taste of it. But the manga is it's not old, but it's older than, I should say, the anime. And last night I couldn't fall asleep, so I'm like, I should read Peach Girl and like you see the differences. And by the time I was like done with the first book, I was like, oh my god, I gotta keep going. Sai is literally 10 times worse in the manga. Like, I kid you not. So I'll just give you an example. So the reason why I was asking is about the model is because I wanted to basically tell you what actually happens in the manga. Mm-hmm. So in the manga, Sai convinces, the model that Momo is bullying her and, she lost her real boyfriend who was Toji and she wants him back, and she convinces him that if she at least helps them break up, she will get back together with the model. That's what it's supposed to be. It's not that she wants Toji back, it's help me at least break them up so I get revenge and then we can be together again. So he says, okay, how do I do this? And she says, well, Momo really, really likes you, so if you take her out and spend the night with her, I can bring Toji, have them catch them together, and then he'll break up with her because she's cheating. So that's the plan. So the model, who is before Sai, he was a womanizer. He's like, I guess, I don't usually sleep with people I don't like, but I'll do it for you if it means we can be together in the end and I can make you happy. So in the anime, Momo is trying to get away from the model, and she runs into like this closet and all this stuff topples on top of her and she faints. In the manga, Sai actually drugs her.
Oh.
She, says, oh, he's breaking up with me. Please come help me. Please help me. So Momo goes to her rescue, being Momo. And she's like, he said he likes you. Please turn him down. Reject him. And she's like, okay, I mean, I guess I will. I'll tell him I'm not interested. So they're standing there waiting. And she's like, oh, I'm so thirsty. Here, have a drink with me. And it looks just like a can of pop. But Sai actually has drugged Momo, so by the time she gets in the car with the model, she's passed out. And so the model takes her back to his hotel and he undresses her, and he stops himself at first and he calls Sai and he's like, I can't do this, like I can't, like this isn't right, she's sleeping, she's passed out, I can't do this to her while she's sleeping, because he doesn't know that she's drugged. He just thinks that she's fainted because she can't believe she's with him, typical ego. And Sai says, I don't care if she's sleeping, if she's awake, or you have to tie her down, just get the job done. And so he does it.
So in the anime, he rapes her? In the manga, sorry?
In the manga, he does actually rape her. In the anime, it's insinuated that nothing happened. Sai says nothing even happened. But in the manga, he does actually rape her.
Holy shit. Okay, oh my god. No, you see, I think now I want to read the manga now, because I'm thinking the manga seems to have some more of a realistic kind of oomph to it, because when when the anime in that particular scene and he came out of the shower and she's in the bed and she's like, how could you do this to me? And like they insinuated nothing happened. I was like, are you serious, mate? Like they were there, and like why didn't if he's doing all this thing, like why didn't he just do whatever he was gonna do? And,
see, that was my problem with the anime, is like, if the model, if all of this stuff is false of what he's being accused of, why doesn't he say something? Why is he just standing there? And like, it's because he's confused about Sai, but it's also because it's like, dude, say something. Like, say something. You're innocent. Nothing happened to Momo. Like, you were just letting her boyfriend beat the crap out of you for nothing. You didn't do anything. You brought her back to your hotel because she got hurt and you were just, keeping her safe. He doesn't actually do anything. But no, in the manga, like, he does actually do it.
Holy crap. Okay, the manga is a lot more hardcore, and I hate Sai more in the manga.
She's terrible. She is very bad. She's very bad. And she, of course, but she's the one spreading the rumors about Momo before she even got to school. She's the one, she's a lot worse. And I know this is so small and minute, but remember how in the beginning of the show, Sai was talking about how Toji just planted a kiss and she was taken off guard, and and Momo's like, oh, he's moving too fast. So what actually happens in the manga is, so she's telling her the story about how they kissed, and she was actually happy they kissed. She's like, I like him, right? So I should be happy that they kissed. So she said, and the next day he invites me back to his house and he tried forcing himself on me. So that's why Momo jumps, and she's like, he's taking this way too fast, I can't believe him. So she assumes it's Kairi, the playboy, trying to force himself on her, and then she's like, no, it's Toji. And then Momo like flips out. She's like, there's no way, he would never do that to a girl, he's so nice, he's so gentle, he's so shy. So then when they go out to lunch, it's not a hair clip in his wallet, it's the condom. There's a condom in his wallet, so that's why she flips out, because come on, it's a hair clip, don't get spazzed out over a hair clip. But when she opens his wallet to pay for the food, there's a condom, and she's like, why would he have a condom in his wallet if he didn't have plans on using it? So that's why she runs and flips out and so on. Okay. And go ahead. Sorry, you have a question? The
anime is a lot more. It's a lot more confusing, I guess, if you want to put it that way, because of how the context of how things are going. I guess maybe they even tried to censor it for.
They did. They tried to dumb it down a lot and make it more friendly, but I think that's where it lost a lot of charm, because the manga is so much better, but it's so much cruel because it literally is bullying to the extreme, and how Momo overcomes this. And her growth and relationship with Kairi is a lot more developed. It's not just like, you know, in the anime it seems like just a couple days and she's over Toji, but in the manga it clearly expresses, you know, Kairi helped me through winter break, he was there all the time, he helped me get over it, and now spring semester. So you know, okay, some time has passed. It's not just a couple days, she's back in school. Like, this has been months. Winter break, at least a month or two, and then they get into their new classes in spring semester. And that's kind of how the Kairi chapter happens, and that's how Kairi's story starts. And again, it's a lot more developed, and even like the whole cherry blossom thing, like in the anime, she's like, as soon as they kiss under the cherry blossom, she's like, do I love him? I don't know, do I? But in the manga, she's actually like, I don't understand why we even kiss. Like, I don't know if I have feelings for him like that. Like, we're friends and he helps me and he supports me, but I don't know if I feel for him like that. And that's when Kairi's like, it's okay if you just want to spend time and don't know how you feel about me. I just want to be here for you and I would just want to help you. And of course, they don't stop their kissing and everything, because, I mean, who wouldn't want to kiss Kairi? Like, he's adorable. But, like, it, you know, the whole the whole thing isn't about them, like, oh, she realizes she has feelings for him. It's literally just him being a true friend and really helping her and being there for her. And then it just, because of that whole situation, she eventually starts developing feelings, and it's a lot more progressed and developed and understood, and then everything's okay, and then you're like, I get it, they're gradually falling for each other, and it's not just like, oh, they kissed under a tree, they love each other. So
now that makes so much sense, and actually now you make me want to read the manga, because I've already watched the anime, so I've already saw the tree already. And this kind of leads into your next question, but the next question that I'd like to ask you about this particular anime / manga is, would you recommend, now that you've started reading the manga now and you've actually watched the anime, if you had to recommend either or, which would you more like, which I kind of already know what you're going to say, but which would you more likely recommend to people, and why? And if in any situation that you recommend the other, what situation would that be that you'd actually recommend the other one?
For those that want a real story and really want to understand that this isn't just a story about a whiny little girl who wants a boyfriend and wants to see the bullying, how she overcomes the bullying, how she overcomes her own self-esteem problems, friendship problems, all of that, read the manga. The manga is so much stronger, and her development as a character, and not just her development, but the other characters' development as well. Like, you learn more about Sai, and you learn more about Kairi. Well, you learn so much about Kairi. Like, I cannot stress to you that whoever made this anime done f***ed up, because the whole manga is literally focused on their gradual friendship throughout Toji, and then their eventual relationship developed after Toji. Like, the whole manga is based on Momo and Kairi, and the manga, or the anime is like, no, she is in love with Toji, and then she just falls in love with Kairi because of circumstance, and it's like, it's not like that. So, for those of you who just want something silly to just kind of have to go ahead watch the anime, but if you really want a heartfelt story that you like genuinely, you're like, come on, Momo, you got this, you're gonna win, then you gotta read the manga.
Okay, perfectly. I think for me personally, to answer that same question, as I've not read the manga yet, but from what you're telling me, I think I actually want to watch the manga more, and for someone who likes an actual well-built story, and because I can watch something or read something that is bad, but if the story is well developed, it makes sense, and I'll actually watch it. Like, I've watched a television series called Weeds, and Weeds is quite a roller coaster ride. There's a lot of drama in that as well, but it's well developed, so it makes sense, and you actually like, oh, I understand this. Like, you go through an entire season and you're like, this is a good show, and you're actually interested. And I think if the manga is like that, like it's well developed, as from what you're telling me, I think I would actually want to read the manga more, and I'd actually want to recommend it to people more and all that kind of good stuff. But with the anime as it is, from what I've watched, I would tell people, if you want to watch it for fun, no, it's not. It's you can watch scenes, like go online and just Google search scenes from it with funny scenes of Kairi and when Sai is like a little wobbly chick and all. You can watch scenes from it, but if you want to watch it as a whole, as an anime, I think that's a bad idea. If you want to watch it as, lightheartedly, because of the fact that it's a lot of drama. If you're someone who's into a lot of drama, this is exactly for you. There's drama everywhere. It's bleeding drama. It's just drama everywhere. It's like more drama than comedy and romance. It's just drama. And which, again, if you like that, that's great, and you should definitely check this out. If you're a hopeless romantic like me, I would personally say stay away from it and try find something else that's a lot more romantic. From what Kiki's telling me about the manga, though, it sounds like that's the thing I want to check out, because of the fact that it does sound like it's a lot more well put together, and so the romance feels natural and realistic, because a lot of it in the anime felt unrealistic. It just felt like this is something that is just fabricated just for some laughs, or just to have these scenes put together. But it sounds like it's a lot more well developed from what you tell me, and I think the manga is what I recommend as well.
Yes,
so.
Yes. Definitely the manga. The manga definitely wins out. They have a much more developed relationship, and the manga is very clear that this is about Kairi and Momo literally from the first chapter. So like the first kiss and everything happens, and she like freaks out, and then like it's a lot more intense, and Kairi's persistence towards her is a lot more like explored, and I'm just gonna trust that those that have read the manga understand why it's so much better, and why from the very beginning you are like, come on, Team Kairi! So.
Team Kairi's gonna win. I like Kairi. Okay, so I think we've reached the end of our romantic adventure this week. I think we have. We've covered a lot of this anime and this manga, and we don't want to put too much in here, because we do want you to check out some of it, at least the manga.
Yeah.
So we've reached the end. Kiki,
we have.
What do we do now?
I guess we just conclude our episode with our normal outings. Remember, Q, last time we almost messed this up. We have to make sure we don't mess it up this time. So we have to, you start and then I finish, right? But anyway, that sounded terrible. What we're gonna do, guys, is we're gonna tell you to go over and head to our Facebook page, because we have a whole bunch of cool stuff on our Facebook page. And honestly, all you have to do is go into Facebook, type in Hopelessly Animanic, and you'll find us. And you'll also find us on Button Smashers. You could find us on there and join in, because on Button Smashers there's all kinds of other nerdy and unperverted things that won't come out of my mouth, or maybe there will be, I don't know. But all I do know is this, guys: Q, would you like to start?
Oh my god. Alright. It has been.
Romantic? I totally messed it up. Go ahead, start over.
You totally messed it up. It's
Okay.
Oh my god, it's just
Okay, go ahead, start over. I totally threw myself off because I said you start, I finish, and I was like, whoa, that just was there. So anyway, Q, the theme of this episode has definitely been shagging.
No, actually, this episode is gonna be called Too Much Drama because this anime is all drama. I think that's it's
Fair enough.
I think that the hidden meaning, which we'll make a hidden text in the podcast because we can do that. You can actually put comments in it. It's gonna be like, you know, there's a lot of like, you know, double entendres inside here. There's like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, everybody listen to this podcast with open mind, alright? And I'm gonna get my little accent going on because I'm feeling it. I'm in the mood. Been doing my accent all day. So, if you put in mind, Q, if you want to stop me, I'll finish this podcast for all the f***ing lovelies out there. Pardon my... Gonna have to bleep that one out, but don't you ever censor an Aussie. We have quite dudes, you know? Alright then, alright?
Okay, I think it has been...
Awkward.
It has been...
Romantic.
And it was...
Hopelessly animanic.
Oh, beautiful. I love it. It's a wrap. We're out of here.
And cut.